Hello and welcome, everybody. Hi. Hi. I'm DM Dan. We are the Explorers of Elsewhere, and this is live, if you couldn't tell. We have returned to play some more Tales from Elsewhere, which is a cheeky little name I've given to our Daggerheart campaign. This is our third live episode. We're coming up to the end of our first tale, and so far you lot have you've done some talking, you've done some spelunking through a pretty glowy cave, and you've
and some twatting.
Yes, you did some whoppy boppy, stab and choppy. Yeah, you did some fighting. You're looking for some researchers. You found the researchers. Hurrah!
Jobs are good.
Jobs are good. You've also, theoretically, completed the side objective, which was to find a missing Croak.
Oh, yeah.
Which is arguably...
Yes, Croak.
Arguably, the more important... that music just ended very abruptly. Yes, arguably, the much more important... objective of finding this missing Croak. So, yeah. I mean, job's good. We can all go home now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope so. That's Cal's plan. Cal's going to just walk out. Let's go.
See, it'll be fine.
I mean, do we know how to get out?
Well,
We can. Kind of, maybe.
Maybe.
I've just discovered, hold everyone, that I've ballsed up the audio. Hold. Hold. Right. So if I do a little bit of this, and I click OK, and then I do a little bit of this, and I click there, and then I click that, and then I click here, and then I click there, and I click. This is the truth of live streaming. Right, if everyone can say hello, and we'll do some test quacks.
What?
Hurrah!
Hello.
Right, do we have
hi.
test quacks?
Quack.
I think we have test quacks. Okay, I think we're good. Cool. So yes, you've done some stuff and some things in a place, and I reckon it's high time for us to whip straight back to see what comes next, which is, just pack up and go home. Who's ready for it?
Yeah.
Well, first, let's have a title screen. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar and the Jarni Seraph.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Spirit Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, Sangavar Guardian.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. And so, we return you lot to a rather peculiar location, having been tasked with finding a lost researcher team from by the instruction of the pupils of one of the explorer expedition outposts, New Prosper. You have delved into an impossibly large crystalline tower-like structure which dominates the nearby landscape, surrounded by a forest of crystalline petrified trees, and walking through the almost liquid-like front door, which come portal, you've found yourself in some strange kind of crystal caves somewhere within the tower's structure. And as you've gone exploring, you've discovered that, quite worryingly, there are what appear to be pools of coalesced mana, which those of you who've had kind of prior experience with mana, you have noticed that implies an extremely high concentration of, in this case, arcane mana, for something that is inherently ephemeral and like invisible to the eye, to be gathered in such quantities as to almost form a liquid of sorts. You fought what appears to have been a number of pseudo-sentient mana blobs, like coalesced mana, and you've pressed on through the caves, finding an area which appears to be overgrown with greenery, with vines and plants, only to find on a rock in the middle of a small pool, surrounded by what appears to be an almost like a bewitching, shimmering green glow. You found the research team, accompanied by a curious little Croak, who Vanier has immediately jumped into, like, check on, only to find that this Croak spoke back.
Yeah.
You've also been introduced to the lady that appears to be the research team's leader, a Laravar woman called Tree, and she has very excitedly kind of shaken all of your hands with much vigour, and informed you that she's very glad you're here. But to the pressing matter at hand, Vanier, you peer down at this Croak that's peering up at you. And this Croak has its little kind of webbed, fingery hands on its slightly slimy hips. And it looks to you and, again, repeats, "Are you here to save us, sir?"
We have indeed. We probably should start making a move soon. Don't think we want to stick around too long, knowing what we've just faced.
Very good, it says. And then it sort of like peers round you, looked at the other three explorers, like your fellow explorers. And for the other three of you, who are still kind of stood a little way away from the rock that the other researchers are sheltering on, what do you make of the whole scenario as we zoom out on this beautifully crafted Birdie Maps map?
Obviously we've been introduced to Tree.
Yes.
And the little Croak we've noticed talking. How are the other researchers looking?
So the other four researchers, they fundamentally just look, well, first and foremost, they look a bit tired. They look a bit tired. They look, actually, it is just tiredness. Like, you can see that there's like large kind of heavy rings, like bags hanging under their eyes, but otherwise they don't look like a group of people that have been kind of lost with relatively few provisions for a week and a half, as you would expect them to be. They, for example, look quite well fed. And glancing around, Azakar, you notice that on some of these kind of roots that are bursting through the ceiling, kind of wrapping down the walls, you can, and like on bushes on the rock that they're kind of huddled on, you can see what appear to be like relatively kind of like fist-sized berry-like fruit just hanging, and you, in actual fact, you can notice like on the floor, by the side of this Croak that Vanier's kind of squatting down to talk to, you can see what appears to be like one of these half-eaten berries.
Azakar's going to actually side up to Cal. And he's going to just sort of lean into him and go like, I do not believe these berries have done these researchers any good. I think we must be quick with getting them out here and getting some sort of medical help. Something, if anything, is growing in here. Is obviously having a negative impact on them.
What do you make of that, Cal?
I think Cal, he'll frown. Like, he's a man who frowns quite a lot.
Yeah.
But if anything, his brow is a lot more furrowed than normal. Is he okay to collect this half-eaten berry? He's not going to eat it, obviously, and he doesn't have the knowledge himself to study it, but he might pocket it in some sort of pouch. It might be useful at some point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, yeah, you, like, as you kind of make your way across the water to kind of join Vanier, like, as you stoop down to pick up the berry, the Laravar woman, Tree, she looks to you and says, oh, if you get the chance, you should really try. It's actually quite delicious, and it's such a curious thing to have just sprouted here. It was a very strange set of circumstances, she says.
Have all of you been eating this?
Explain.
She, like, the researchers all kind of nod in response, and that's the noise of the Croak, actually. And yeah, Tree continues. When we were exploring the caves, and everything looked, well, like it does over there, she says, kind of like jabbing a finger in the direction that you've just come from. And we realised that it was almost like the cave was watching us as we were doing our taking our readings, and it was when we kind of started interacting with the pools that the cave almost seemed to come to life, almost. But we started heading in this direction. We thought that this area here would provide some kind of security and safety, because we couldn't see. We thought, given it was slightly higher up, that perhaps there wouldn't be any pooled mana here, and we could see flickering lights moving down the corridors after us, and but as these kind of floating, almost like will-o-wisps, started heading towards us, clinging to the walls and the ceiling, like floating in our direction, and then all of these roots just burst through the ceiling. They just wrapped around the whole area, and seemingly warded off the elementals. A few of them approached, but they just couldn't seem to pass the threshold, she says, kind of gesturing to the ridge that you climbed up. She kind of looks around again with a look of genuine kind of marvel on her face. I don't know where these roots came from, but frankly, I think they saved us. And then with the roots came all the plants, and you can see all the water's been purified. You can drink it. she says, gesturing to the water, like the pool around them, and over in the corners, which, Vanya, you do notice kind of glows with this like green, almost like bioluminescence. It's perfectly good to drink, and then these berries started fruiting on the bushes around us, and we've been relatively safe and well fed ever since we've been here. Ray, what are you thinking about this tall tale?
I think Ray, who spent a lot of time in nature, is quite interested in these very large berries. I have an ability I would like to use.
Okay.
Which I can speak to plants.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Can I have a little chat with the berries?
With the berries?
Yes. Or the plant that makes the berries.
Okay.
I have to do a thing roll, but
okay.
see if it works.
Yeah, go ahead and make the... Does it... So...
It has to be over 12.
Okay, you've got the DC. Okay, yeah. By all means, roll me an instinct, did you say?
It's an instinct roll.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
On 14 with fear.
Okay.
So I think Riri will kind of pop up, kind of listening to the story, kind of looking at the berry that Cal has like picked up, kind of gives it a sniff. Vinny gives it a sniff. Yeah, I don't know. It seems all a bit odd, doesn't it? And then she's gonna bend down and just not telling anyone anything what she's doing. Just say, "Hello, little plant. What have you grown here?"
Okay. Everyone else watches, like turns to look as this little ignorant sprite squats down and starts talking, like grabs one of the bush branches and starts like talking to the leaves. And I can only imagine like holding the leaf to your ear just in case it...
Just kind of moving the berry like it's a little face.
Sure. And like the researchers all start kind of like side glancing at one another. Tree is looking at you mesmerized. How peculiar is this for everyone else?
I think from the past, I've made it aware that obviously Azakar and Rayri have worked on jobs before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Azakar has seen it before, but he's not actually really sure what she's doing. He thinks she's just a little odd and she likes to talk to plants, not actually knowing that the plant is talking back.
Sure.
Potentially.
Sure. What about Vanya?
Dares not ask.
Well, I think it just says it all when the camera just slightly focuses in the background as Vanya's like cutting some of these berries off and shoving them into his cool bag as he's heard that they're great, and he's like, "Oh, this will be good food later." As he's just like
shield his eyes.
Cal?
I mean, I think Cal has had a lot of life experience, so I think this isn't probably the first time you've seen someone talk to a tree.
Sure.
I think a little bit like Azakar, he's a bit like, they're just a little bit, I think the war did something to but no, he knows, he's obviously seen earth spirits before, so I think he's not unaware that nature has, a life of its own in that way, and that there is such a thing as natural magic. but he doesn't look any different. If anything, he's just like, and that's about it.
Okay. Well, yeah, as everyone kind of regards Rayri, Rayri, you yourself kind of, you've just started talking to this berry, and you wait a moment, and you're kind of, expecting a response. But you don't hear anything back. As you kind of frown, pout a little bit, you notice, like, out the corner of your eye, between two of the researchers, off on the far wall, like that's currently kind of covered in a sheet of vines and leaves and whatnot. You swear you notice like a slight shift in the tree line, like in the plant life, and you turn to look, and perhaps, like when you turn to look, you don't see any movement. You see another flicker of movement in your peripheral, and like your head starts spinning as your eyes are just picking up on these bits of movement. But it's when you glance across, like as you're glancing around, your attention is kind of to your left, and when you glance down at the water of the pool that this rock is protruding from, for a fleeting moment, you see the face of what appears to be a young keeper woman with like a floral headband around her forehead, that kind of nestle and kind of wrap round the horns that protrude from her forehead and rise up. And it's tough to tell because of the way that the light is reflecting in this place and off the surface of the water, but she appears to have these almost kind of like milky white eyes. She's wearing, you can only see sort of like the tops of her shoulders in the reflection in the water, but she's wearing what appears to be sort of like robes of green and yellow. And there's a moment when you recognise that the colour, like the hues of those greens and yellows, were the same as the keepers that you met in the forest before you came into the tower. And like all of this happens in a moment, and then you kind of catch the eyes of the reflection, the keeper's face in the water, and there's a look of like a solemn duty in her gaze. And while she doesn't say anything, she just gives you an ever so slight nod. And then the reflection just seems to slightly disappear and kind of disperse across the surface of the water. And you're not 100% sure, but you can swear that while all of this was happening, it almost sounded like someone was playing a violin. Just wispy, airy notes of a stringed instrument that then just kind of disappear into the sounds of the cave once again. And whilst you didn't get a response per se, you do get this feeling that whatever is happening here is a measure of protection. Measured and active protection.
Okay. Oh, baby's not talking. And she'll say to Cal, who's next to her, I think it's like it sounds a bit weird, but I think there's somebody looking after all these people, like a keeper. You know, like the people we saw before. They were like, "Oh, don't go in there," like that, like one of those. And they're like protecting everything.
Riri, give me. Make me a quick knowledge roll.
I'm not very smart. That is my dumpster. Being smart. 11 minus 1. 12. No, 10.
10. With hope. So, we're going to give you the hope. When you rolled fear last time, it was just a complication of you didn't get quite as much knowledge, like info as you did, but you get a hope this time. And like as you're kind of explaining it to everyone, like what you just saw, it's as you say it, and like your mind's racing at like trying to remember everything that you just saw a few moments ago, and just an image flashes into your mind, and you realise, that the face of the keeper you saw in the water looked remarkably like the face of the keeper in the statue in New Prosper.
Yeah.
With the bear and the horse.
Yeah, I reiterate, like, you know, the one in the village with the bear and the horse and the statue. And she's like...
So we're dealing with ghosts now, as well, potentially.
Spirits, ghosts, protection, I don't know. Who's left? Ruby just points to the water that's now got nothing.
Oh.
Okay. Maybe you should speak to the berry.
I just look very intently at this berry.
Sure.
I don't say anything.
See? Can you see?
The more you focus on it, like, you start to notice just the ever so slight kind of sweet scent that it's giving off. And you can't help but feel a little bit of saliva gather in your mouth as it looks really tasty. Looks really plump. It's probably not helped by Vanier just like mass gardening it all in the background.
Just making jam.
No, it's all going in this magical bag for later use.
Yeah. What does, like, based off what Ravi's just said, what's kind of Vanier, or what are you thinking? By the sounds of it, yeah, Ravi just saw
Vanier over here.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
I would have been yiffling on.
Yeah.
As he's finished putting the last down in his bag, he kind of looks over at Ravi and it's like, really? Is there someone in the water we need to save? Hello?
Water, berries, over there.
I look over there. Do I see face?
You don't see face, but
I think we better be getting off. It's not safe for these people. We need to get them back to the town.
I don't understand why they didn't go before. I mean, we didn't have any problem.
So Tree responds, well, I mean, we've kind of been stuck here ever since, we got chased here by the elementals, and this grove has been sustaining us, but I mean, one of us. She points to the Lorivar man across the way from her. He tried to find the entrance that we came in through, and it seems to have gone. The wall was kind of, you could pass through the wall where we arrived from, but it's just solid now. So we've kind of been stranded here. We've been perfectly safe, but we've just not been able to escape. Our Croak friend has made some suggestions, though, and we're not entirely sure that we can. Whether or not we should put our faith in the plans of a Croak. She says in a hushed whisper, because you notice that this Croak in the corner is just kind of looking over at you, looking over at her. But if you're gonna get us out first, you'll need to help us find a way out. And the Croak pipes up. Well, I've told you, we've got an escape. We just have to figure out how to make it work.
Well, what is this plan?
The Gerpel, the Croak looks to you, Vanier, and finally, an individual of forward motion and momentum. Come with me. I'll show you our escape, he says. And he kind of gets up off his rock and splishes into the water, and then starts kind of heading further into the tunnels that you're in. Who's joining Gerpel?
I'm 100% joining.
No.
Yeah, I'm just kind of following the way.
Sure.
Before everyone pops off, I want to just talk to the Lorivar man, one of the ones that are looking like they're very tired.
Sure.
And just ask him, it's just, you and your party look a little worse for wear compared to your leader. Are you alright?
The Lorivar man kind of nods and... we're alright. This tree here is just an endless source of... an endless well of energy. But while we've been, relatively well fed here, it's not easy sleeping on wet rocks. We're just... I'm just feeling a bit run down. I'm counting down the hours until we can see the sky again.
That will be soon. Don't worry. We'll get you out of here.
Thank you, he says, and kind of claps you on the shoulder.
And Azakar is going to follow the others.
Okay. So, as you kind of jog to catch up with the others, you notice that they're being led by this, Croak through the tunnels. The tunnels and this tunnel is itself just as overgrown as the rest of this kind of grove, such as it is, with the same kind of almost glowing waters to the sides of the, up against the walls, which appears to be kind of nourishing the plant life, it would seem. But there are a number of broken stair bits. You are gaining kind of altitude. You don't know how far up, given that you've got no real context. But the Croak leads you to an opening at the end of the tunnel, and surrounded by a ring of water, you see a circular dais, at the centre of which is what appears to be about 5 foot-ish wide circular crystal, which is currently it looks like it's Well, I mean, it just looks like coloured glass to look at it as it currently stands. And if I could have a consequenceless knowledge check from all four of you.
Sure.
So we got roll of a 13, a roll of a 16, a roll of a 5.
Or Azaka.
It's a car like a door.
What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Oh, and a crit.
Got a crit.
Crits.
Oh,
Okay.
baby.
Okay, so everyone except Azakar, and we'll say it's because you can't see, Nate. You you recognise that this circle is like this stone dais in the middle of this at the end of this tunnel is like a summoning circle, or like a portal circle. It looks kind of similar to the portal that you left Avamore via, but it does look like it's currently deactivated. So the Croak kind of marches onto the dais and just sort of like wraps the slightly kind of raised platform where the mana crystal is, wraps it a couple of times, and if we could just figure out how to what's stopping this from activating, then we can just teleport out of here, he says very matter-of-factly.
Do we know where this leads to?
He looks around, he looks at you for a moment, and whilst this Croak seems rather intelligent, there is a sort of a blank confusion that etches across his face. And his eyes, like the eyes that are moving kind of separately from one another, like they keep on like alternating as to which eye is actually looking at you, and then it like turns its head, one eye stays fixed on you and the other rotates to look at the crystal, and then the Croak says, no, I don't, but what I do know is that portals allow you to be in one place and then suddenly be somewhere else.
That is usually how they work, yes.
Exactly, says the Croak, and it kind of Gerpel puffs his chest out. How are you all feeling about this Croak talking about portals?
Fabulous. Feel like he's completely normal.
Yeah, I mean, Vanya only knew about portals because he's seen them.
Sure.
And that's as far as the knowledge goes. So, if a creature knows about portals, he's obviously intelligent. So, as far as Vanya is concerned, he's like, do you know how to make it work?
I think after meeting the previous set of Croaks,
Yes.
this guy seems a little maybe advanced.
Yes.
It's probably what Ray's thinking. Just a little bit, maybe a little bit more smart about him.
Cal, Cal, you said that you have encountered Croaks in your past, and you know that Croaks, like if we're talking D&D, Croaks are like intelligence too. Like these are creatures that barely have self, like they are floating barely above id level of kind of self-awareness.
Self-aware, they're not intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah, you kind of need... Yeah, I get it. I get where we're going with this. This is weird to Cal. This is very weird to Cal. He knows his intelligence isn't great. In some regard, like academically, he's not useful. Well, that's how he comes across. To have a Croak talk about arcane portals, off-putting. It's kind of weird. I think Cal's reaction to the portal was very much going to be, you do realise that this portal could take us deeper into the tower as well as leaving the tower. If we don't know where it's going, it is quite unsafe to use unless we're able to wield the magic in a way that is to our advantage. I'm not a spellcaster, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how to do that.
Yeah, to take us brilliant, wouldn't it? Why? We could go anywhere. We could appear in like somewhere cool. I don't know why you're so down about it.
I'm not down about it. I'm just concerned that we don't know where it will take us.
Where's your face?
This is my face, Randy. This is my natural resting face. I'm not necessarily upset. You do understand this.
You've been asleep a long time. You don't have anything other than that face.
Hey, Riri, why don't you ask your ghost friend that you saw earlier?
Well, actually, I can't really see her anymore, and I left the berry, so.
Can you find her?
You find her. Hello. How are you? Out of interest, Mr. Gurple, is it?
Yes.
Sir Gurple.
Just Gurple.
Oh, just okay. Have you always been, how you are? Have you always been, so smart? Did you go to like Portal University or Gurple University or
Liverpool University?
There is a moment. It's perhaps one of the more unnerving things you've seen in relation to a Croak. But Gurple looks to you, and like you've been used to, like all this time, like Gurple's kind of independent eyes have just been kind of looking at two different things at all different points. But Gurple like looks at you head on, and like both of the eyes, they strain a bit. It's a bit like us going boss-eyed, right? But they strain, and the two eyes turn to look straight forward, both at you, and it's quite an unnerving sight to look at. And like the eyes stay there, and despite like the head itself is sort of like moving ever so slightly as Gurple starts like stroking his wet chin, his dewy chin, but like the eyes just stay focused on you as like his head moves around ever so slightly. Well, I mean, as long as I can remember, I spoke like this. Yes, yeah, I was like this. Yes, I have fond memories of the sea, and my siblings, my spawn mates, and I can fondly remember feasting on the delights of the ocean, and I do remember the last thing that a really bold memory, there was this glowing rock in the water, like a shell. It looked like a shell or something, and I gobbled it up. I just gobbled it up, and then I could, and then I found myself questioning my life choices. You know.
We've all been there.
And I decided in that moment that I needed to see the world. So I left that beach behind, and I went travelling, and then I ended up here.
So you're a Croak. You ate magic shell. you learned to comprehend, and then you traveled. Sounds wonderful to me.
Did you come in with the adventuring party, or?
No, I can't say I've ever seen those as 5 in my life. No. I found them here, actually. I do remember I was walking... there was lots of these large kind of hard, glassy like objects. They looked a bit like the stone that I ate in the water. And then I saw a really, really big one, and then I thought to myself, oh well, I just wanted to see inside it, you know. I wanted to be in it. So then I was walking around, and it was very dark, you understand. It was a very confusing place. There was a big stone thing. It had a face and it had wings. Wings, and then I walked around, and then there was lots of glowy lights, and there was a particular. It looked like a letter. It looked like on the wall, and I don't know why, but I just felt compelled to press it, and I pressed it, and then I was here. And that's when I found these. Well, and that's why I know that this portal will take us places, because after I pressed the thing, the letter, the glowing shape, I appeared on this portal, and that's when I found the other 5, the 5 round the corner. So if I came in this way, then I know that I can leave this way.
Ravi looks at Azakar as the magic.
I think Azakar's going to feel fairly concerned about the fact that the Croak has mentioned that he's eaten a mana crystal.
Yeah, Cal's also very concerned that he mana crystal.
So, what do you make of our plan? If we can figure out how to make this thing work, make this entrance into an exit, then we can all leave this place. I can go back to the sea and see my siblings. Taste those bountiful ocean goodies. Nothing like some fresh ocean sludge.
GM.
Yes.
Question.
Answer.
From this perspective, does it look like the crystal's inert? Like there's nothing really like emanating like magically about this circle and this stone at the moment? Like as though it might be lacking in power? Question mark.
I'm going to ask for anyone who wants to have a look to roll me an instinct roll. And this will be consequenced, so roll if you would like to.
I got an okay instinct. I guess
I'm gonna go for it. Why not? I want to have fun.
Yeah.
That's just I'm +0.
Sorry.
YOLO!
Can I just ask what this to look at again?
To figure
crystal.
out what if the crystal, if we can figure out how, why, maybe it works or doesn't. What?
Okay.
Cool.
I'm trying to.
15 with fear, Dan.
15 with fear. Okay. Is anyone else joining in?
I was thinking about it, yeah, but I was trying to see if my experiences could be wrangled into this scenario.
Crit.
Oh, you
Crit.
Ooh. Okay. So Azakar
do
goes
I
up.
even need to try? Maybe I pose the question and somehow the people who know what they're doing.
The 2 daddies in the group start.
Yeah.
Go full DIY mode. So Azakar goes up to 6 hope. Cal, well, both of you, Cal, you notice that the crystal itself, and sort of like there's a crystal in the center, there are the runes of power that encircle it, and the runes in the crystal aren't completely dormant. It seems like there is an ever so like a residual flicker of like life in it, but it's only that. It's a flicker, which is kind of odd because, you know, runic circle, like portal circles like this normally are kind of, you know, self-regulating and so on and so forth to be quite stabilized. But it's, you don't know why the idea kind of flashes into your mind, but you almost get the feeling like the magic that powers this portal is being smothered or throttled. And Azakar, you have a similar idea, but as you kind of close your eyes and kind of focus, use like your innate, finer, like awareness of mana, thanks to being a Majani. Like you can almost sense the vibrations of magic kind of through your crystal horn. You sense that there is a strong kind of arcane surge that's like, arcane mana is normally kind of explosive. It normally grows much like the crystals and the mana crystals that you've seen in the forest and whatnot. The direction of movement is usually outwards, but this seems very insular. Like there is some sort of arcane magic stopping this portal from working. And you feel that it's working in contention with another magical force. And Azakar, as you kind of open your eyes and look around, you look at the roots that are growing from the walls, and you notice that they're reaching out across the water, but then it's almost as if they can't push any further towards the portal, as if they're being held at bay.
Can I start just doing like a perimeter of the portal? Just seeing what I can find.
Yeah. Well, so you, like, as you walk around, you notice that, you know, the difference between the pools of water with all the kind of roots in, as the roots and the plant life kind of reach onto the solid ground, like the stone around the portal circle, you notice that unlike in the other room where everything seemed quite like verdant, it almost seems kind of like the roots seem dry, brittle, thorny almost, like it's being kind of tainted, like it's being corrupted almost. But like walking around, you notice, yeah, I think it's that kind of almost, you can almost see the line where anything that grows past it just seems to be kind of withering and drying and dying.
Any for your thoughts there, Azako?
There is something preventing this portal from working. There is a... If you look around, you can see the branches, the water, they can't reach onto the shoreline. I believe there's some arcane that is preventing this portal from, obviously, this This has protected the researchers. It can't penetrate something here.
Well, it's like, what, all of these roots are dead, probably primal, right? Primal magic. And I don't think arcane and primal magic work well together. So, you know, nasty stuff contaminated roots.
Rayri, given that you were the one that kind of reached out and kind of interacted with whatever has caused these roots to sprout, as Vanier kind of gives his theory, like, you kind of look around and like you notice the difference in the natural growths, and the space that you're in, like immediately around the portal, it almost feels sick. Like there's an illness. There's a lingering illness here. Because Vanier's right. The culmination of the war, the world spirits used their powers to fight back against the arcane dragons, and that allowed Aya and the divine dragons to imprison the betrayers. So primal magic is its very own thing. But yeah, there's just this malady in the air. Like the longer you stay here, you almost feel like your mouth is starting to dry out, your bones are starting to feel a bit heavier and creakier the longer you stay here. There's something wrong about the manor in this place.
Yeah, I think she's feeling. Yeah, it's kind of suddenly like dawns on her that she's feeling this kind of sickness and this sort of closeness and heaviness of being in this area, and she just says to the lads, does anyone feel like it's all a bit like there's like sort of like a blight or like a sick, like it just feels like there's something really not right about all of this, like it's a bit sick, like.
I think I know what you mean, but here is a thought, right? So you know when like plant, you get a piece of plant that sort of withers on the that branches off and withers a bit, so you like break it off so that the rest can be healthy, right? Maybe we destroy all of the branchiness here to let the good bits grow, but then that stops whatever is going on here.
He's like,
No?
No, I think it's more that they're sick because something bad is here, rather than that we need to destroy the plant life. I think they're being affected. It's like they're growing in bad soil. So we don't
You have to.
get rid of the plant, we get rid of the bad soil. It's just
Well, I mean, you look all around us. It
all of
is
this
a
glowing
giant crystal made of arcana.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing much for the plant life.
Cal, as they're kind of speculating, you have this feeling that they've kind of got it half right, because the roots and the like are growing into the area fine, but it's when they get kind of too close to this portal, to where this bad stagnant feeling is emanating from, that's what's seemingly spoiling it. Like the proximity to whatever's happening to this portal is poisoning the plant.
I think Cal will kind of explain this in a Cal way, which is very much, still frowning. I think the portal is what's bad news, or whatever the magic that is currently affecting the portal is bad news. Perhaps we should
so
try
you
and
want me
find a
to
way
smash
to
it?
heal. No, don't smash the crystal. We might need that to leave. However, do any of you have any sort of healing magics we could try on the crystal, maybe?
Just DM.
Mm-hmm.
Have that thing that I picked up, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, the green orb?
Do I feel like this has any bearing on life right now? Now take out the green orb.
You take out the green orb.
Just looking at it, looking at the portal.
So,
What's that you got there?
That's the thing I picked up. Little, the green orb, but we were like, I don't know what it is, I'll just save it for later.
Ray appears to be holding almost like a polished green, like glass green sphere with an indented golden filigree, like ornate golden filigree banding around its kind of circumference. And like Vanier, to look at it, it reminds you like it's a deep, rich, dark green, reminiscent of like some wine bottles you've seen in the taverns of Avamore. That you see the nobles sipping from. And Rayri, the orb itself, it's got this ever so slight kind of internal glimmer about it, and it's reflecting the kind of the bioluminescence from around you. It does strike you that the fact that these are both green is perhaps nothing more than coincidence, so just to draw that line in the sand. But you notice, like, as you get it out, the glimmer seems to be getting almost like repelled away from where the portal is.
Yeah, I think something's sucking in all the energy out of this thing. I think it's like some kind of, I don't know, sinkhole of magic.
Well, going off of what Cal said, Azakar, your divine magic, can it do anything to this to make it, to cure it in any way? Like curing a tummy bug? When you've ate something dodgy?
I don't think that's how it works.
Oh.
I can take a look. I can try. I will go up to the big glowing bit in the middle.
Yeah.
I can. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna roll my prayer dice.
Oh, roll your prayer dice. Yeah.
Roll my prayer dice. We got a 2, and we got a 4.
Hey.
Nice. I'm wondering what I can do.
I mean, someone had mentioned healing it.
So, what I can do. So I do have healing hands.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, that's not really intended for what we're doing here at the moment, but let's have a little flavor flay and see what we can do.
Do it.
So I will do healing hands on the thing, on the glowy bit. It is a spellcaster roll 13. Target a creature other than yourself in melee. On a success, mark a stress to heal the target 2 hit points. So I have to roll over 13 to do it.
Okay.
Spellcaster roll +2. So that's a 5 and a 3. That is 8 +2. That is
10.
Is 10.
You need to roll a
hope.
13 to use like.
Apparently so. It says make a spellcast roll, and in brackets 13.
Huh. Okay.
And you want to roll something here.
With that, I'm going to use my prayer dice. I'm going to use my 4 prayer dice
Okay.
to add to add that to boost it up to a 14. 14 with hope.
Okay.
But obviously, I can't use hope because I can't gain any more hope because I'm full up.
Yeah. You don't have to use hope to use a prayer dice or anything, do you?
No, prayer dice is.
Prayer dice is just it.
Oh, I do have to. Yeah, okay. So on a success, mark a stress to heal the target 2 hit points or 2 stress. On a failure, mark a stress to heal the target at 1 point or 1 stress.
Okay.
So I'm going to mark off a stress, and that will heal it up for 2 points.
Cool. In which case, as you kind of close your eyes and you mutter like incantations and prayers to Mother Aya, as you place your hands on the on the focusing iris crystal at the center of this portal, you begin to feel that warmth kind of. It almost feels like you can feel the warmth kind of projecting down from the heavens in through your forehead, down through your body, along your arm and through your fingers. And everyone else you watch as there's an ever so slight kind of glow that emanates from Azakar as he channels this kind of divine energy. And Azakar, you've got your eyes closed as you're focusing, and then curiously, you know how when you close your eyes and you get the flashing kind of lights in the darkness? The flashing lights seem to slow and then reform into an image. And it's an image of what appears to be a room of crafted stone, like a crypt or a temple or something along those lines. And as the flashing lights kind of dance around a bit more, there are 3 kind of motes of light that begin to grow brighter and brighter in your vision. And you hear these almost kind of muffled voices. It sounds like they're underwater and they're distorted and garbled, but you still kind of gain a sense that there's a desperation or a seriousness in their inflections and intonations. And the 3 shapes coalesce into what appear to be 2 people wearing robes and hoods with their backs to you. They're speaking to a third in between them, a little bit further away. His robes seem more ornate, but you can tell from the build that he's not the same. He's not the same as them. they kind of give you pangs of perhaps being Asavar, but this central figure, broader shouldered, taller, the ankles seem more upturned, and then suddenly this world of sort of like greys and kind of muted tones suddenly starts to become much more vibrant. Reds, like blood reds, deep purples, and the central figure turns to look over his shoulder, perhaps in response to something that one of the two companions have said. And as the figure turns its head, you notice the telltale profile of the snout of a dragon scent. And as this dragon scent turns to look, it almost seems to notice you peering into the scene. And as the dragon scent turns to regard you fully, you see him wearing what appears to be the regalia of a mage general. You fought against these, you saw wizards wearing these sorts of robes during the war in your time as a prisoner. But as this dragon scent notices you and his face turns into a snarl, you watch as from the tips of his claws up his fingers, flames begin to sprout and emerge, and as the intensity in his eyes builds, so do a pair of fiery wings begins to emerge from his back, seemingly as he begins to swell in power as he swells in fury. And as his stare burrows into you, you feel a sharp snack of pain like surge up your arm and up the right hand side of your head as you kind of pull away from the crystal, and everyone gathered notices that the crystal has now turned a blood red. And as Azakar is kind of launched back from it, it mirrors the colour of your eyes, Cal, before slowly fading back to the green that it once was.
Was that meant to happen?
All of this happened in the matter of seconds.
Azkar, you okay?
Azakar's going to look back at you, Cal, and remember from what he has seen, almost wanting to trust you, but then seeing your blood red eyes and going, I think this portal is a dead end. This will only bring us something worse.
Gerpel's shoulders slump. Well, I suppose it was worth a shot, he says, as he looks at you as you kind of pick yourself up as a car. Perhaps we should head back to the others. I can look after them if you want to carry on exploring the caves in case you can find another exit.
Well, let us ask the others how they normally get out.
Well, I think that's their problem. They can't get out.
Yeah, but if they've been here before, and they know this place changes, how do they normally get out? Do they just keep exploring until there's another exit?
Well, did you want to head back and ask?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, as you all kind of head back, like as you kind of round the corner and you see the rock jutting from the pool, Tree is sort of like waving at you as you approach. Did you find anything? Like, did you manage to make it work? She shouts out.
No, I believe it is a good idea that we steer clear of it.
She sighs, and like she flaps her lips. Well, we can't leave the way we came.
Question. Have all of you been in this tower before?
This is my second time, yes, but these four of the other four of this is their first time.
Okay. Well, how did you get out last time?
Oh, we went out the way we came in. And that's the problem, because we can't this time, because the wall's not all gooey anymore.
DM,
Yes.
was the wall wobbly when we got in last time? So technically speaking, can we leave the way we came? I cannot remember.
No, it was not.
Okay.
So from what you would have been told by the people of New Prosper, like these research crews kind of go in, go out. They've been drawing, they were drawing the maps, but fundamentally they would just kind of strike in and then exit the way they came. But for whatever reason, these researchers can't. Something has happened that has presumably turned off the entrance for all intents and purposes.
Great.
Well, if we can't go the way we came, then we just find new exit.
Can I show Tree my green orb?
Mm-hmm.
I've still got it in my hand. Sis, by the way, I found it. It's one of yours.
Tree
Adventuring.
Tree looks at it, and like her eyes open wide in surprise. No, that's not one of ours. No, that what is that? She says, and she like offers it, like asks if it holds her hands out as if to ask to take it off your hands.
Is it before I give it to you?
I mean, well, something like that is probably magical, but we'd have to inspect it and kind of run some tests to find out exactly what it does.
Well, as long as if it's got stuff it's good in it, it's mine, okay?
She nods. Of course. Yeah, she, like, if you're happy to hand this over to her, she can start like investigation of it. It'll take her a little while, but then she'll be able to figure out roughly about as long as it takes for the GM to figure out what it is.
Good. Very just got my eyes on you though.
Tree sort of like nods, and then you watch as she kind of pulls down the goggles that are on top of her sort of like traveler's hat, and she pulls it down, and like the lenses are they're not kind of standard goggles, because the lenses appear to be made of like a faceted gemstone, so they kind of protrude slightly. So like she looks to you, and suddenly it appears like she's got 10 eyes that kind of just looking in all different directions, and she looks at you, and there's this kind of genuine, kind of chaotic, frenzied energy. She nods and starts like inspecting it and kind of sniffing it, holding it to her ear, shaking it slightly. She begins her investigations.
Leave you with that.
She nods, like she's lost to the world as she starts inspecting this orb. as she does that, the Aquan Sprite researcher that's in this party turns to the four of you and says, well, if we can't go the way we came and that portal isn't working, could we trouble you with scouting ahead to see if you can find an alternate exit?
Well, we can certainly do that, but if we were to go ahead, this place won't change, will it?
All of the research that we've gathered on this place so far tells us that every time a group comes in, their space becomes set. And once everyone was to leave, then by the time every time a new group comes in, they're presented with a new layout. That's what we've discovered from our cartographers that have been in here before. But we've never heard of someone going in and having their layout, if you will, change whilst they've been in it. There must have been some sort of external factor that's changed something about the tower and fundamentally locked us in. Who's got the highest knowledge? Or are you all -1s?
I'm
-1.
I'm just a 0 on knowledge.
I'm also just a 0 on knowledge.
Okay. In which case, Vanya, like, as this Aquan Sprite's talking to you, Ravy, you're keeping a very close eye on Tree as she kind of starts investigating your orb. But Count Azakar, at the mention of this external factor, you can't help but glance down at the Croak that seemingly, like, based off what this researcher said, every time someone like new comes into a new group comes in, they get a different layout. But somehow Gerpel here has strong-armed his way into these tunnels while these people have been in here. And you can't help but wonder if perhaps Gerpel's intrusion is what's caused this place to change slightly. Gerpel is oblivious. He's eating another berry.
I think Gerpel must die.
He went to go.
You can't hear this.
Yeah, the Aquan Sprite.
Mary, no.
The Aquan Sprite kind of asks again. Yeah, if you're able to explore up ahead, because we're not any good in a fight. We frankly get in the way. But if you could scout ahead, make sure that everything's safe, and then if you manage to find an exit, you can come fetch us.
I think that seems reasonable.
We take Gerpel with us.
Remove him.
The researchers kind of look to one another and then look at you a bit curiously. Gerpel, mouthful of berry. Absolutely not, he says.
Well, we can't do anything sitting around. Why don't we just go ahead and see if we can find another exit?
Hey, which way do you think we should go? You're the hunter.
I point over to the route that at the bottom of the cliff that we climbed up. I point over towards the continuation around the bend that we didn't go towards. 'Cause I don't believe, unless correct me if I'm wrong, GM, that up here there's any other routes to explore.
You would be able to take a quick few seconds to realise that this kind of area of the cave, of the tunnels that the research team are in, is effectively a dead end. The only route away from it led to the portal. But yes, you're absolutely right. The direction you were travelling did carry on, and then you kind of peeled off into this this grove, this underground grove, much like it would seem the researchers did.
Yeah, so yeah, I point the direction that we've yet to continue up.
Sure.
And I say, shall we, Dean?
Mary's already looking
Sounds
over
good
the
to me.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I just start making my way, and I say as we're passing the researchers, I'll say, sit tight and don't get into trouble while we're away.
The 4 researchers nod. Tree does not respond because she's currently, prodding and poking.
Just before we leave,
Yes.
Azakara is going to just take a handful of the water and just sort of rub it on his burn marks to sort of calm them down a bit.
Sure. And as you do, it feels surprisingly cool to the touch, and there's a slight kind of a pleasant tingly feeling that lingers.
Lay.
So as you stand on the 10-foot ledge looking down, there's that kind of stream of mana that you had to kind of get past on your way up, but from your elevation you're able to just clearly kind of vault over it and down the 10-foot drop to the other side, so you may absolutely just move your tokens down. And as you return to the tunnels that you were first kind of walking down, the tunnel continues on to a sort of a T-junction. You can see a ledge up on the left, as well as another ledge up 10 foot to the right. What it looks like Cal is Point Break. So what direction is Cal going in?
I think I would like to go straight ahead.
Okay.
Up that 10 foot. Yeah, I think that's straight ahead for me.
Sure.
Yeah, so are we gonna work together to get up 10 foot again? Like
There's nothing kind of untoward that would stop you, so feel free to just hoon yourself up it. There's enough handholds to get up there quite easily.
Cool.
In which case, as everyone follows in behind you,
Well, that doesn't look ominous.
Cal, you spy, and the others do as they enter, what appears to be another mana pool. But this one is significantly larger than the ones you found before. And unlike the others, this appears to... Well, this is a dark claret with streams of dark purple, fiery orange. Azakar, as you kind of come around the corner and lay eyes on the pool, you don't know what it is, but you suddenly feel nauseous. Rayri, as you regard the pool, you get the same kind of feeling in your stomach that you felt when you realised that the magic around the portal felt sick. And as you like this, the manor itself kind of seems a lot more viscous than the pools you've seen before. it's not like pools of arcane mana are bad, but there's something about this. It's almost blood-like. What do you do?
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like the feeling of this at all.
No, neither do I. Keep moving
GM,
away.
does it look like you can go around that edge there, or is that submerged as well up here?
So you notice that there's a slight incline north of you. Rayri, you spot that there are some, like, there's an incline to the west of you. But yeah, it looks like you could go round. But as you, like, Vanier, as you kind of look left and right, your hunter senses, your slightly kind of enhanced senses, you kind of tune into the feeling of you're being watched, observed.
There's something here.
As you kind of look left and right, Vanier, like, you glance at the manor, and based off your kind of your natural foraging skills, this blood red manor, it's like stagnant water. It's tainted somehow. Like, this manor has gone bad, but you're not sure what's polluting it.
Do I see from this point where what's coming into this pool? Is it something that's coming from the ceiling? Is there streams coming into it that might be showing like a route to where this pollution might be coming from, or is it seeming like it might be something from underneath?
As you look at it, you notice that there are no streams running to this collection of mana like the others. The others were, for all intents and purposes, naturally formed ponds, like pools, if you will. But this, you can't really see any drips coming down from the ceiling. There's no streams running to it. You just get the feeling that this shouldn't be here, or it wants to be here.
I kind of look to the others and I say, considering what we fought before, obviously something's tainted in this pool. I think there's a monster to hunt. As Vanya gets a little excited about the prospect of beating something up.
What's everyone making of that?
I think Cal's nervous. I think this is not ordinary. And he's seen quite a few things. I feel like his instinct is to keep away. To find an exit, to move on, to not engage. But if they're being watched, he's also feeling ready to fight if he has to.
Azakar, the feeling of nausea is not abating, but what are you doing?
Trying to push through the nausea. Azakar is gonna. I think you're right on some sense. I think if we don't find it first, it will find us.
in response to that, you see slight gusts of wind and a slight chill in the air as there's a clenching of gauntlets underneath Vanya's cloak and a slight smirk coming across his face. Well, shall we try and coax it out?
I know you're eager, but approach with caution. I don't think this is anything we've ever seen before.
And I just take a step forward.
Okay. Vanier.
Does it seem like anything's reacting?
Vanier, Azakar. As the two of you begin taking steps towards this pool of bad manner, you notice that the surface of it begins to react, quivering almost. And the closer you get, Azakar, you notice that the surface of the pool appears to be becoming thicker, like it's congealing, until it forms what appears to be a relatively sturdy looking crystalline surface, much like a frozen lake. But it's not just that, because as this kind of crystallization spreads across the surface of the mana pool, it begins to form kind of 3D-like shapes until it forms what appears to be the same stone room you saw when you held your hands to the portal crystal. And as you peer like across this reincarnation of the scene that you saw, but this time in hideous kind of life, dark blood red hues, you see 3 motes of light for a second time that begin to coalesce. 2 of them forming into what appear to be Asavar in long cloaks and hoods, wearing the regalia of Arcani wizards. The first what appears to be a male Asavar, the second a female Asavar. The light of the pool kind of reflecting off their semi-translucent features, before the third mote of light forms into a solid shape. And it is a winged dragon scent with large curving horns rising from the sides of his head, flames flickering from his hands. And this time the dragon scent looks directly at you, Azakar, and says,
I don't know who you are, but you have intruded on my sanctum, and that I cannot abide.
And as the wings flare out and the 2 mages move into flanking positions, we'll call it there and go for a quick break. Cool. So, Yeah, we will see what happens then. If you're enjoying it, make sure to hit the like button, comment down below, comment what you think is happening, and if you at all recognise anyone that's just appeared on screen. I know Nate does. Otherwise, we will be back in 15 minutes. See you then. Bye 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 bye.